Welcome back, you guys. And today I have my amazing friends, new friends now. I feel like we're going to be best friends because you guys are from Arizona as well. No longer here, but Samantha and Dylan. And Samantha and Dylan are the owners of Ananda Elixirs, which is a superfood drink that my son and I both love. And we've used it to replace some of our other drinks that we love. So welcome you guys to the show. Tell us a little bit about yourselves and then we'll dive in.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks so much for having
Thank
us.
you.
We're super excited to be here. We've both been very entrepreneurial
Yeah.
for pretty much our whole lives. And it's kind of a miracle that we came together. I was from the capital of Canada, Ottawa, and he was from a tiny little town in Kansas in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
And we happened to meet and became really good friends and then
Yeah.
fell in love. And we've always been doing business, wellness. We've always been passionate about growing ourselves, growing companies, following our dreams and supporting people on their journey toward their best version of them, whatever that looks like for them. So through the products they use, the food they eat, the way they talk to themselves, the way that they see themselves, their self-love, like all of that stuff has really been a passion of ours. And so we started Ananda. It's just going to be coming up to 2 years in December. I guess it is December now, so end of December.
The year flew by.
Yeah, and we started it because we had a successful business in wellness, and over the few years during the pandemic and all of that, our business really changed and it really crashed. Like it really took a huge spike up and then a huge fall down. And so we were kind of just in this place where we were trying to figure out what to do next in that like middle ground where you feel like you're kind of in no man's land. So we were like, do we rebuild this? Do we focus on something completely new? Like, what should we do next? What's our next phase? And we kind of have always followed this mantra of follow your bliss, and that when you're in alignment with your truest self, things will start to work out for you. That kind of mindset. And so we had this idea of let's just follow our bliss, like whatever lights us up, let's do that next. And I said, what would we be doing if we were following our bliss? And Dylan out of nowhere was like, let's start a mushroom company. And we had both had really great experiences with functional mushrooms, but they were kind of boring or didn't taste very good. So we thought, what if we could create something that tasted amazing? And so that became our next entrepreneurial journey together. So it's been super, super fun. And we're just getting started. So
you went right into it.
I know.
I love it. So I'm curious, you had a business during 2020, like when COVID happened. What was that business before you then got into? Because you said this one is true.
Yeah.
So we ran a network marketing business. We were both in the industry for like 10 years and we were doing millions of dollars of sales a year. And, we had a really successful business and we really thought we had it all figured out. I know that you probably experienced moments in your life where you feel like everything's going great. You got it all figured out.
Yeah, you're at the top of your game. Like you hit all the goals you've been working toward for decades. And then
it all falls apart. And I think a lot of people, they take moments like that and they feel like their life's falling apart, but many times it's actually coming together in a new and exciting way if we don't resist that process, right? So we had about a year of just total crash and resisting it, trying to make it work, and just it wasn't working. And we literally went from like never having to worry about money, saving a lot of money, and to literally nothing, to about to lose our house, drained our savings, all the things. And we had to make a decision. We were in this moment, and instead of reacting in a fear-based way, we had this just interval of inspiration where we just decided, like, what's our bliss? What's our joy? What does following our heart mean to us? Because we always preach following your heart and following your dreams, but it's in those difficult moments when you actually have to practice it that becomes real, right? And in that moment, we decided to follow it. And it wasn't some fairy tale magical thing where suddenly, everything's working out and, the business is flourishing and all this stuff. No, it was a grind. It's still a grind.
Yeah, but it became exciting again. Like life became exciting again, where we were like up at night, like, oh my God, I have this idea and I have this idea. you know? And I feel like that's when you know that you're onto something that you're supposed to do, because you feel like you can't not do it, actually. Like, that's how it felt. Is like, now that we've had this idea, we can't not at least try our best to like bring it to fruition and share it with the world. So,
and I'm sure you've experienced this where, as soon as you do something out of the ordinary, there's going to be people who try to bring you down. So we had all kinds of people who in the previous business had said, don't do that, you're never going to be successful. Well, we were successful. And then they're like, you need to stay with that. Don't do this new thing. And we're like, we have to. And, there's all these people saying, you can't do this. You shouldn't do this. Why are you doing this? You're crazy.
too risky.
Too risky.
Yeah.
But when you get that call from within, you have to follow it, because there's magic on the other side of it,
It really is. And there's something to be said. Like, I always tell people, like, you don't talk about the things that you learned when things were easy and
Yeah.
you just were like, I got it figured out. Like, that's not where your lessons are. The
Yeah.
lessons are in the hardest moments where you're like, oh man, like, I don't know how this is going to work, or I don't know for sure what direction I'm going to go. But you're in that moment of your back is up against a wall and you have to figure it out. And those are the moments that actually are the most valuable lessons, and where we get creative. So had you guys not gone through that, you wouldn't have gotten creative and created your own company, which you're probably even way more proud of than when
Totally.
you were like selling someone else's product. Am I
Absolutely.
Oh,
No,
yeah.
you're
Yeah.
100%
And,
right.
and I think one of the essential shifts for me was changing my perspective from life's happening to me to life's happening for me.
Oh, it's so powerful.
Yeah.
It's so incredibly powerful. Like, I get that there are some things that we go through in life that when we're in the middle of it, for example, like when my dad passed away when I was 13, when you're in the middle of something like that, you don't go, oh, this is happening for me. Because
Yeah.
that's a very, very difficult thing. But years later, I can look at that and go, yes, I still miss my dad and I love him. And I wish that wouldn't have needed to happen. But I can now look at that tragedy and go, okay, that happened for me. I still don't know the exact answer to it, but I feel like I get closer and closer to going, and I'm okay with it. Like, I'm 100%
Right.
okay with it. So that's such a pivotal moment. And it's, Samantha, you said something about you couldn't not do it. So it's
Yes.
the same idea as like, I can't afford not to do this.
Yes. Yeah.
This is going to
Exactly.
cost me some of my money. This is going to cost me some of my time, but all of that is going to take you where you actually want to go. And so you just can't afford not to.
Right. Exactly. And that's genuinely how it felt, like from deep within.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's the difference too, is sometimes you get ideas, but they're from without, like they're from the ego side. That's like, oh, well, then people will look at me this way and then I'll feel validated and then I'll feel like I'm finally worthy. But all of that is just an illusion. But when it comes from within, where it's like, it's not about you, it's about the creation of it and about who it can serve and the fun that you can experience and that everyone else will experience because of that, because of you going through with it, it's a whole different ball game. So
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
definitely how it felt when we had the idea and at all the stages of the process, which there was a lot of challenging things. Like, anyone who's started a business knows that that things go wrong and, things change. And
It was way harder than expected. Still is.
yeah.
Yep.
And sometimes when you look back and you realize, like, you think, wow, if I knew it was going to be this hard, I probably wouldn't have done it.
Yeah.
Right. But then you still would a lot of the time.
But
right?
another thing is for us, what I've had to remind myself, and I think that a lot of people, if we're on this subject of adversity in life, so many times people let the things that happen to them define them. I've met so many people and I hear their life story because through our last business we coached a lot of people, and you hear people's life story and you see these two groups of people. You have people who let their adversity define them, and a lot of times they become stuck in habitual patterns. They start to become less and less fulfilled. They start to become less passionate about life. They more mundane. And then there's other people who let their adversities drive them. And for me, I noticed through a lot of the difficult periods over the past couple of years, I let myself be defined by the difficulties that we face.
Mhm.
But truly, over the past, I'd say 6 to 8 months, one of my biggest realizations was, using every single one of these challenges that we've faced building our company, or having 2 kids, or, moving across the country, across the world, continent, it's about letting all these adversities drive you and inspire you to continue to grow, right? Because that's what they're all there for.
Yeah.
Every challenge that we face is actually a stepping stone. It's a one step on the staircase of our growth as human beings and our greater fulfillment and joy. Because at the end of the day, what we leave this world with is who we become, not what we gather, not what we achieve. And so reframing our perspective about life and starting to make our success the measure of who we are rather than what we have.
Oh, it's so true because I mean, I'm sure you guys have heard this over and over. Many people have like money can make your life easier. And I don't think it's 100% true that you can just say like money doesn't bring you happiness. You can do things that you
Oh
can't do
yeah.
if you don't have happiness, but that's not the end all be all. So like
Yeah.
if you want to make millions of dollars because you think that's what's going to make you happy, that's a wrong motive in my opinion.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But it will help make your life easier, and you
Yeah.
will
Right.
be able to do things that you can't do if you don't have millions of dollars. All right, friends, let's talk about something that's a little uncomfortable but super important. Parasites. Yup, those unwanted guests in our bodies that can mess with our energy, digestion, and throw off our internal system. Now, most of us don't think about doing a parasite cleanse, but the truth is, these pesky little things are more common than we'd like to think, and they can lead to all kinds of symptoms that many people just live with, thinking they're normal. Now, it's not a matter of not having parasites at all. Rather, it's about how many do you have and what havoc are they creating internally. That's why I'm excited to share the Rot Your Hood Super Purified Kit with you. It's a comprehensive, all-natural kit that helps rid your body of parasites gently and effectively. I like to say this is white pant approved. It's easy to use, and it's a great way to reset and support your health from the inside out. Because let's be real, detoxing isn't just a trend. It's a way to help our bodies function better. The reason I love the Super Purified Kit for myself and my clients so much is it doesn't just touch on parasites. This kit includes a heavy metal flush, a candida detox, a binder which is very much needed, and a red artist tincture designed to support your gut and your organs as you are detoxing. So if you've been feeling sluggish, bloated, or just not quite like yourself, it might be time to give parasite detoxing a try. Grab the Rot Your Hood Super Purified Kit and start taking charge of your health, and see what a difference it makes when you clear out what shouldn't be there in the first place. Go to www.rogershood.com/REF/8. This link will automatically apply a 10% off discount code for you. If that doesn't work, you can also apply Lizzie10. Again, that is www.rogershood.com/REF/8. You can also find this link in the show notes. But I was going to ask you, Dylan, if someone's stuck in that space of like they're allowing that adversity to define them and they're stuck in that, how do you get them to get out of that? I'm curious what your thoughts are on that.
Well, it's all about what we assign meaning to, the meaning that we assign certain things, right? So what I found is when you can go into the situations that are challenging for you, it's just like what I talked about earlier when I said that, life's happening for us rather than to us. It's all about shifting the meaning that you give things. So instead of saying, oh my gosh, I lost my job, this is the worst thing that I could have had. Why God, why did you do this to me? Or, whatever your beliefs are, instead of taking the victim mentality, shifting the meaning that you give the situation and saying, okay, what is this situation meant to teach me? How is this meant to make me grow, make me expand? Maybe there's a greater opportunity around the corner, right? Because we can't control what happens to us 90% of the time, but we can 100% of the time control the meaning that we give things. So it's all about reframing life and recognizing that the only thing we can control is our own state of mind. I can't control the person next to me, can't control the economy, I can't control who's president, I can't control the stock market, I can't control the weather, but I can control how I respond to those situations. And that's empowering. So it's about taking an empowering perspective on life rather than a disempowering perspective on life. But what that also means is that you have to take responsibility.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't want to take responsibility because they
make it mean something about them.
Exactly.
It's kind of like what you said earlier about, you're not sure why yet, but you can start to shift to, this is happening for me. It's like the different things that happen in our life, our circumstances can become a launch pad to the next level. They can become the catalyst of our growth and transformation, or they can become blockages on our path. And that's up to us what we give meaning to all of those different things. So it's so simple to shift from, it's harder, it's easier said than done, but
always,
it is actually simple in your head to shift from, like Dylan said, becoming the victim or finding gratitude, even if it is something difficult. I lost my dad too. Of course, we're never like, oh, well, this happened for me. It doesn't feel right to say that, but we can find gratitude for the time we had. We can cherish like the positive memories. We can focus on the things that they added to our life. I always try to think of things that my dad used to say to me or lessons he tried to teach me. And I try to really like think about those and ponder how I can continue to learn that lesson now and what's happening now. Or sometimes I think, what would he say right now to what we're doing or how we're growing or what we need to do next. And in other ways, I also think, okay, well, I don't have him here with me in the physical, but maybe he's there guiding me energetically and I can still communicate with him and have him be a part of this in another way. And so like, no matter what it is, there's ways that we can shift our perspective and make it something positive and make it help us grow instead of hold us back.
Yeah. It's reminding me of my kiddo he's 6 and he was having a bad attitude this morning when it was time to go to school. I was thinking about this while in the whole process of it happening, because he, instead of just telling me what he needs and asking for the help that he needed, he was whining about it and he was pouting about it. And I said, I can't help you if you don't use your words. Like, you have to use your words in order for me to know what you actually need. I will gladly help you and I will provide what I need to provide for you, but you have to use your words. You can't be whining and pouting about it. But he chose to stay in that the entire time while I like dropped him off, and then he's like pouting, walking into school. I'm like, listen, when I pick you up, you know exactly what to do and I will be able to provide what you need, but I need you to use your words. And that is the same idea as like adults deciding that, hey, I'm going to stay in this like whiny area, in the victim mentality. And I was thinking about when you were saying, when we just look to blame other people for what is going wrong and what they're doing wrong, that is actually us not taking responsibility for our own stuff. So I'm very, very careful when it comes to like blaming other people for whatever it is going on in my life, because I know that it's typically not has anything to do with the people and it's whatever's going on in my life. And so I have to look at what is really going on. And a lot of times it's internal things like the stuff we need to work on. And these people actually were put into our lives to point things out that we actually need to work on.
Yes.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
up to us. It's up to us to find that. Yeah.
And if we stay in that state of mind where we're being the victims, we're just going to be like jellyfish, floating around in the ocean, moved by the currents. We're going to find ourselves beached on a beach somewhere, dried up in the sun. But it's like we have to take it. It's a little bit harder to put your flippers in the water and swim, but then you have control over your life. You can make your own decisions and you can start to guide yourself where you want to be. But that's why it's so important, especially in today's climate where everyone wants to blame everyone. Everyone wants to point to external factors why they can't be happy or, secure or whatever it is. it's so important to remind yourself every day, like, I am the architect of my destiny. And every choice I make right now, that is leading either where I want to go or somewhere else. But,
Yep.
and here's another thing, mistakes. We all make them. It's
Oh, yeah.
impossible to be on this planet without making mistakes. But the meaning that we assign our mistakes are so important. We can use mistakes as stepping stones, or we can use mistakes as lodestones that we're carrying on our back, walking up the mountain of life,
Mhm.
right? So
Yeah.
it's all about our decisions with that as well.
Can you imagine if everybody saw life the way that you said about how everyone is coming in to teach us and to show us where we need to heal? Like, could you imagine how different the world would be if
Mhm.
everyone saw their experience of life that way?
Yeah.
It would be so crazy.
Mhm. So I want to dive into your business.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For those of you that see me on video, I'm actually drinking their root beer elixir drink, and there's mushrooms in there. So I want to really dive in. How did you guys start with this? Because I was
Yeah.
looking at the bottles, and I'm looking at the first time I saw it, I went, how did they come up with this? Because you put it in water and it tastes like root beer.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
talk to me about that.
Yeah, well, so I'm obsessive. I'm an obsessive personality. I'm all or nothing. And I really got interested in mushrooms watching the Netflix show Fantastic Fungi. I think that came out about five years ago.
Hmm.
You
It's
should
really
watch
good
it.
if
It's
you haven't
amazing.
seen it yet.
But I remember watching that documentary and I was crying. And I'm like, why am I crying about mushrooms? This is ridiculous. But it struck something deep within me and I knew that it had some importance in my life. And, fast forward, we're going through this difficult process and I'm really trying to figure out, like, what do I actually want to do with my life? Because I felt like I had got myself into this state of mind where I was treading water and I wasn't really going anywhere fast. I was trying to make something that wasn't working work. Like, I don't know if you've ever been in a relationship for way too long and you're like, this is not working and why am I even doing this? It's like, it was
Mhm.
like that with just my career.
Yeah.
And when I finally decided, like, hey, let's try something with mushrooms, because I felt this deep call, it was really inspired because for two reasons. Number one, we both had amazing physical benefits with mushrooms. I had a traumatic brain injury, had a really bad concussion, like was in a dark room for 3 weeks, couldn't walk, couldn't go outside. And I used lion's mane to help heal my brain. Like, it literally,
Oh,
lion's
so
mane,
good.
yeah, like lion's mane literally like creates new neurons in the brain. It repairs brain cells. It forms new neural pathways. It's incredible. So when I learned that, I'm like, I need to get my hands on this. So I started just taking tons of lion's mane. It really helped. What you want to tell your story?
Yeah. After my first baby, I went to a doctor, a naturopath in Phoenix, actually, because I just felt so depleted all the time. I was just felt like not myself. Even almost 2 years postpartum, I was like, I have no energy. Like, am I ever going to be motivated again? Where's my drive? Where's my positivity? I just felt very like disconnected from myself.
Yeah.
And I wasn't sure if maybe I was depleted in some kind of nutrient or if my adrenals were shot or whatever. So I just went and got all the blood work and hormones and everything tested. And after getting the results, she prescribed me with one thing, and it was a functional mushroom supplement. And I was very confused by that, but I bought it and I started taking it. And within days, I was like back to myself. I was full of energy. I was
She was waking up at 4 in the morning.
5, like
Yeah.
4:30 some mornings,
Yeah.
5 a.m., like ready to go, full of energy, working out. I wrote a book in that 9 months and published my own book within that first 9 months of doing that. Like, I was on fire. And then in that previous business, I promoted to the top level of the company, like was just smashing all the goals. I was just literally on fire.
If
So
she missed her mushrooms a couple days, I'm like, babe,
like
what's happening?
I would be able to tell because I would get tired throughout the day again when I would forget to take them.
Yeah.
And so I was just like, these are crazy. Like, these
Yeah.
are mind blowing. And sometimes I would run out and I would go a little while without it. And then I would see them at the store and I would grab it again and take it again.
Or we'd get sick all the time, like with kids in school.
Yeah.
So, but the problem was with this whole situation, we loved the benefits, but we hated taking them.
Yeah, because
'cause
they're just capsules.
and she will not. She doesn't
tinctures.
remember to take something that she doesn't like.
Like, if it
I would
doesn't taste
remind
so
her.
So
good.
did you do a functional lion's mane capsule? Or
Capsule.
was it Was
I
it
did
just
it.
lion's
I did
mane?
it. I did tincture. So I did just a
Okay.
plain alcohol tincture. Sammy did it was like multiple
Capsule.
mushroom capsule.
Yeah.
So like,
Okay.
yeah. So like I'll take anything. I don't care. I would eat dirt in the backyard if it helped me. She is like, if it doesn't taste good,
Yeah, me
I
too.
have to remind her every single day.
I had like really bad morning sickness with both my pregnancies where it was like all day and all night for 9 months and puking nonstop. So like for me, I'm just so sensitive still. Like it has to taste good.
Mm.
Otherwise, I'm not eating it or drinking
Yeah.
it. So
So we had this idea. I was like, babe, what if we make mushrooms taste delicious? Because nobody's out there doing it. We also tried, I remember for Christmas one year, my mom bought me like a very popular coffee replacement. Let's just put it that way. I don't want to name names. And I was so
I know what
excited.
you're talking about. I
Yeah.
hate it.
I was so excited. I'm like, this is going to be amazing. I
yeah,
see
I
the
was
ads.
like getting all the ads and I was so excited to try it too.
And then I tried it and I was like,
Like, how is it
How-
100 million?
I
dollars?
tried it too. Can't do it.
I'm like,
But
how
I'm
is this?
also an avid coffee lover, so nothing replaces that.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm like, how is this a $400 million? If this company can be a $400 million company, I got
$400 million?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And
That's
a
impressive.
lot of these e-commerce brands that are, big now, that's what they're doing.
Yeah.
They're doing hundreds of millions of dollars in sales or getting acquired for that amount.
Yeah.
And it's just like, holy cow, like, okay, how can we make mushrooms delicious? How can we make wellness fun?
And also,
How can we make it exciting for people to
Yeah.
do something that's adding to their bodies? Like
Yeah.
that was kind of the
and also making soda healthy. I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, you see, there's a few healthy sodas on the market now. It's
Yep.
debatable how much they're actually helping your health, but we wanted to create a healthy soda that actually boosted your health. That like it's like your energy levels, you feel more calm, you feel more mental clarity. Like the kids aren't getting sick as often. Like how often can you give a soda to your kids that's healthy for them?
Yeah, based on our experiences of what the mushrooms did for us,
Yeah.
like we wanted people to be able to have those experiences. And then we chose the flavors of soda flavors because we felt like, there's so many different flavors you can do. You can do like peach mango
Yeah.
or like lavender berry. Like all the drink companies do these different variations of flavors, right?
Yeah.
But we felt like, okay, what if we could tackle these two things at once? Like we
Yeah.
don't drink soda because
I stopped when I was 4 years old, and now I drink cola every day. I
yeah,
love it,
so it's
right?
just like
Yeah.
we felt like if we could create a soda replacement that people love, then that would be delicious and fun and exciting. And we saw the rise of some of those more natural soda companies happening.
Mhm.
And so we were like, hey, this is a trend. There's two trends here. There's functional mushrooms growing and there's healthy soda growing. So what if we combine the two?
Yeah.
And instead of going with like a ready to drink can, because we were going to make a mushroom tincture, we thought, what if we could make it so concentrated that out of this tiny little bottle, we could make 30 drinks. So
Yeah.
that's what we started playing with. And
also it's like, let's say I can sell one can. I'm going to have to sell it at like $5 per can
right.
just to make a decent profit. Whereas I can, make a great profit and still provide all the benefits in 30 servings in one little bottle. I don't have to ship 30 cans. You can take it with you to Greece if you're going on vacation. We did that.
Mhm. Yeah, I like that it's not in an aluminum can. That's
Yeah.
probably my favorite part because you still, even with the healthier sodas, it's still coming out of an aluminum can. That's still a lot of exposure.
Exactly.
Yeah. So there's a lot of reasons that we are the way we are. People always ask us like, why don't you do ready to drink in a can? And we're like,
Why?
we don't want to.
Well, there's like a
we-
million companies that do that.
Yeah,
It's
like
like
that's-
nobody's doing what we're doing.
It's people have to get used to like, putting it in their sparkling water or whatever. But once you get used to it, it becomes people's lifestyle. Like so many of our customers, they're like, I just keep it in my purse. I go out for lunch. I ask for a sparkling water and I pop it in and I have my soda that's free at the restaurant, so people start to get the lifestyle aspect of it where it is totally on the go. You can have it at home. You can have it wherever you're at. And it's fun and it's simple. And you can also add it to so many different things. Instead of, a can of soda, you can put this in your oatmeal. You can put it in your smoothies. There's other ways you can drink
And I don't
it.
know how much a normal soda is nowadays, but I mean, with our subscribe option, you can get it for $1 a serving. So like, a healthy soda for $1. I don't know what a normal soda is nowadays, but
Yeah,
that
if you're not buying soda at Costco, you're pretty much
yeah,
spending way more than that per serving
probably, yeah. I
for a
don't know.
normal soda. Like, especially if
Yeah.
you're at, going in a vending machine and you're buying a bottle, it's like $2.50.
I mean, certainly for like a healthy soda, you're spending way more.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, you're gonna spend anywhere from $2 to $3
Yeah.
per can for, I mean, most of them are around $2.50, I think, per can, the ones that I'm familiar with.
Yeah.
I'm curious, can you like have too much in one day? Is there a limit?
There's no hard limit. I mean, the tincture is so there's so a powdered extract, it's so concentrated that sometimes you can definitely take too much. But the nice thing about a tincture is it's very gentle. It's also very bioavailable, but you'd have to drink like the whole bottle.
We recommend 1 to 3 a day.
Yeah.
But 1 is enough. Like, you are getting
You don't
your
need more
dose.
than one because it's got 100% absorption rate, but you can drink 3. I know people who drink 4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it'll
Well,
also
I was
depends on you.
Yeah, I was asking because my kiddo one day he had like 3 of them because he just wanted more, and I was like, I don't know if if there's too much of this. I don't think so, but I don't know. So
no, it's pretty safe. You can drink as much as you want, pretty much, but we recommend 1 to 3 per day.
We recommend 1 to 3, and then usually for kids we do like a half dose, but we always recommend also asking a pediatrician because legally.
I mean, there's tons of kids who drink it, and
our kids, like the first year when we first made the product, even the sample of the product, and we started giving it to our friends to try and testing out the flavor and the sweetness and all of that, we started giving it to our kids as well, and just on a half dose a day. And from that year, so that like November, we had the product that we started taking ourselves and started to have friends try it. That November, all the way to the next November, they only got sick 1 time.
Yeah.
So that was crazy for us because before that, the year before, it was like every 2 weeks we were, staying home because we had another cold.
That was miserable.
Yeah, because it's there's such an immunity booster. Hey guys, if you find yourself enjoying this episode and learning more about mushrooms, and you are someone that wants a healthier alternative to a soda that also tastes good, but it really helps, like it really benefits your health too, I want to encourage you guys to go check out this company, Ananda Elixirs. And I have a special code for you for that. Like, I've been using them. I love them. They make me feel amazing. I gave some to my kiddo last night, and I told him, I said, hey, this helps you calm down a little bit, and it just gives you a little bit more focus. And he was drinking, and he's like, I feel a little calmer already. Not only that's cute, it's really safe for your kids. You can travel anywhere with it because it comes in these little tincture bottles, and it's so cute too. But I have a 20% off discount code for you. You're gonna go to www.anandaelixirs.com, and you're gonna use the code Lizzie Ens for 20% off. It's an amazing discount code. You don't wanna miss out on using this. Like, they have different flavors. They have a classy cola, they have a root beer, they have a strawberry. My favorite one right now is root beer, but I'm gonna try the cherry one because they just came out with a cherry one, and I'm really excited for that one. So go to anandaelixirs.com, use code Lizzie Ens for your 20% off discount code. It's also going to be in the show notes. Can you tell us a little bit more about what is in the tinctures?
Yes. Yeah, so we have 4 functional mushrooms in our product. We have lion's mane, which is amazing for brain health and neuroregeneration. It actually has been shown to regenerate brain cells, nerve cells. It actually transfers nerve growth factor, which is the enzyme responsible for repairing nerves. It allows that to cross the blood-brain barrier, which no other compound that we know of does that.
Okay.
Only when it's extracted in alcohol. That's why we do the way we do our extraction.
Exactly.
That's how you're getting those lipids that you need.
Yeah. The arenacenes and perissinones. Then we have turkey tail. Turkey tail is a immune powerhouse. So it's actually used in Japan and Korea with cancer treatment, because what it does is it increases natural killer cells, T cells. It also increases the cell turnover rate. So it helps your body get rid of dead and misaligned cells, basically. So incredible at boosting the immune system. Then we have cordyceps. This is a energy powerhouse. So it has something in it called cordyceptin, boosts the ATP of your cells, which is a natural energy, like the actual foundational molecule that your body uses for energy. It also increases your oxygen uptake. So basically it increases something called VO2 max. Like when you're running, you get out of breath slower. Like it happens less. So that's great. It's also antiviral, antibacterial, antifungal. And then we have reishi. This is like the mother of all mushrooms. So it's an adaptogen. So basically what it does is it balances your hormone levels. It also reduces cortisol. So lots of tired, stressed out parents or workaholics, reishi is your go-to. It's great at detoxifying the liver, boosting the immune system, helping with sleep. So a lot of people tell us they drink our product like when they're winding down at night, and it helps them just zen out, get to bed, sleep through the night.
Hey guys, if you have really been debating whether or not you should do a parasite cleanse, here is your sign. Parasites can really be an underlying root cause issue for health issues like thyroid issues, hormone issues, gut issues, skin issues. Even in kiddos, it can cause delayed development in speech. I've had this happen with customers that have used it and their kids started to talk again. And so if you have not done a parasite cleanse, but you live with pets or you live on a farm, you eat meat, especially pork and fish, you need to do a parasite cleanse. I highly suggest that, and it's amazing what can happen once you do this, and everybody should be doing it at least twice a year minimum. You get 10% off the Roger Hood Parify Kit. Go to www.rogershood.com/ref/8 and you'll get 10% off your Parify Kit. I like the Super Parify Kit, and I like to use it with the Gutty, the 3-day Gutty to prepare myself, and the fulvic foot soak is a really good option as well, and that will get you 10% off your order. Do all of your products have the blend of all of them?
So the Shroom soda
Super Shroom
does,
soda does.
which is the main soda flavors, but then we just launched a new product last week,
Okay.
which is called Glow For It. And that has 2 different mushrooms. So that has tremella and chaga mushrooms. So chaga is super high in antioxidants.
Yeah.
And
It has 1,300 times more antioxidants than blueberries. Just to give you an idea.
Really,
Yes.
a lot of antioxidants. And then tremella is like the skin anti-aging mushroom. So you can actually put it in skincare as well, and put it on topically, which who knows, maybe there'll be something like that coming soon. But we wanted to also start from the inside. So you can take it as a tincture as well, which that's what we've created. And so it's half tremella, half chaga mushroom. So that's called Glow For It, with the intention of all of those benefits adding to glowing, clear skin that is healthy, and it helps with the support of collagen production as well. So so those are the two products and the 6 mushrooms that we currently use.
I love that. That's so amazing. No, I definitely noticed a difference like when I just got it. Do you have to store the tinctures in the refrigerator?
No.
No, we
I didn't
recommend
get-
actually not. Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes the cold it can,
Not our friend with
Yeah.
our tinctures. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
we want to
All
just
right.
keep it in your cabinet is fine. That's what we do, just in our pantry. And yeah, that's why it's awesome too, because you can put it in your purse and have it on the go, and it doesn't have to be refrigerated.
I like that it's not a powder. I feel like
Yeah.
there are so many things that are in powder form. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel isn't anything that you have to put into powder form in that essence, like let's say it was collagen or something like that, that it usually loses some of its availability, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely. So there's 2 things, especially with mushrooms, with their spray drying process.
Mhm.
So number 1, an extract. So there's mushroom powder where you dry the mushroom, grind it up. It's not bioavailable whatsoever. I mean, your body has to break down the chitin walls. It can't do that. You're going to excrete most of those benefits. Next thing is you can extract it and turn it into a powder. It's still way harder for your body to absorb, a little bit better, significantly better, but still much more difficult. Probably 8 to 10 times harder to digest than the tincture.
Mhm.
But what happens in the spray drying process, it destroys a lot of the very delicate beneficial compounds. So there's some lipids, there's some carbohydrate matrices that are destroyed when they do that. So you're not actually getting some of those more delicate compounds because, they're nixed. So
from our research and working with our manufacturer, who's like the mushroom king, basically he's created so many cool things with mushrooms, and he makes our product for us. And he was teaching us that after testing, about 70% of the compounds that you want are damaged when they do the typical drying process. And most companies that you're getting a mushroom product from that have a mushroom extract, most of them are just buying from a supplier a spray dried or like a dried extract powder. So, they're just putting it in with the coffee and selling it, whereas our process is like we literally have the mushrooms from scratch, grown in the US, grown organically on its natural substrate.
Yeah, so they're not
We
grown
know
on
the
oats and
farmers.
rice,
Yeah.
because if a lot of companies grow on oats and rice, and that's not what they grow on in the wild, so they're not going to be as nutrient dense
Yeah.
as they would be if they're grown on, sawdust or something that they should be growing on.
And bark and
Yeah.
peat and moss and all of that good stuff in there. So yeah, so like we really try to go above and beyond. And again, we worked in the wellness industry for so long. We worked with high-end clean products. So we were very particular about what we take, what we want to buy, what we want to spend our money on, and getting the best value. And so everything that we've decided to do with the product and the development of everything that we're doing and everything that will come is very intentional, that we're not cutting corners and we're doing the absolute best that we can at every stage. So we do our own extractions, everything that we do is
Yeah, we started in our
start
garage.
to
We
finish.
started making this product. We had a one-car garage that was air conditioned, heated, insulated, and we like retrofitted it into a production facility. And that's how we were for over
That's
a
how you
year.
start.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then for the past 6 months, we moved to this awesome manufacturer in Ventura, California. But yeah, I mean, we really go above and beyond with our product.
Yeah, that's how we
That's
want it to be. So
yeah. No, I mean that's just part of business and like where you start, I'm the CEO of a non-toxic skin brand and we're
Yep.
only a little over a year old. But yeah, there's a lot of that back end stuff that people just don't know, they don't see. But anybody that has ever started a business, especially this kind of like a product that
Yeah.
you're developing. Like I've been in the health and wellness coaching business for a long time. That's a whole different type of business. When I started with mine, with the skincare stuff, I was like, oh my gosh, like it's a whole different ballgame. Like you're dealing with manufacturers and labeling and containers and all of that stuff. It's like, as like the first 6 months, I was like, man, I feel like I've been in a business school for
Yep.
the
Yeah.
last 6 months, and yet I learned way more than what you can just learn in a classroom. Because
100%.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
what you learn on the floor is way more
Yeah.
in depth, and you get that firsthand experience. So yeah, but it's fun. Like it's something that if it excites you and you're passionate about it, and I talk to people sometimes. I'm like, listen, like what are you passionate about? And this happens a lot with moms that are early on with their young kiddos, and they're like, well, I don't know what I'm passionate about other than like I'm being a mom. I'm like, no, like take the title mom away. Who are you?
Yeah.
You ask yourself that question, and we have to, and that takes time, but it also takes like you need to go internally insight and get it to know you and your heart. Like what is
Yes.
it that you want? And you guys found that in that time of like, man, we thought we had it all figured out, but nobody ever has it all figured out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think the more you can know that on your own journey, the nicer it'll be for you.
Mhm. Yeah.
Right?
In riding the waves, because if you
Yeah.
can get to a place where you're like, okay, I know that in this life there's going to be waves. There's going to
Yes.
be ups, there's going to be highs, and then there's going to be lows, and you have to be okay with riding those waves and understanding that when you are in a low, hey, this is normal. This is part of life. Life
Yeah.
is never, it's like, someone that goes on a weight loss journey and they want to see everything has to go down. They're like, I just want to see the scale go down the entire time. I'm like, doesn't work that way. It's never linear. And if you want to build something that is successful and have your foundation strong, it's going to take some time. And that
Yeah.
goes for business too.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
finding joy in the process.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Khalil Gibran has a beautiful poem talking about that, how it's in the process of working our craft that we find our fulfillment and our joy and our reason for being. It's not a
Mhm.
destination. It's the day by day, the expression of our joy. That's what creates a rich life. And
Yeah.
so that's what we've been learning along the way. And I'm sure you've been learning similar things as well.
Mhm.
It's a lot of things to think about in this beautiful journey called life, for sure.
It's very easy for someone that's in the entrepreneur world and you're passionate about work. It's very, very easy for someone in that field to forget what brings them joy outside of
Yeah.
work. And if
Yeah.
you want to have some balance in your life, you have to find things outside of your work that also bring you joy. I had to learn that, and I'm still like I could work all the time if I would let myself, but I have to force myself to not work all the time. But then also, what do I do in that time that also brings me joy? And like I want to experience that part of life too. And so I would say probably in the last year, I've been working really, really hard on that. Is like, all right, what do I want to do that's not work and go
Yeah.
somewhere and be somewhere that doesn't involve any kind of work and what brings me joy in that?
Yeah, exactly. And I think that in our modern world, we all actually have ADHD. Like we're all super hyperactive, including myself. And I think this is going to sound really stupid to some people, but sometimes you just have to be. I was sitting down and just for 20 minutes today watching snowflakes fall from the sky. And it was such a joyful experience. And I'm just sitting in a chair watching snowflakes, watching how the wind, takes them on this little dance around the house and how they mold around the car. And, how often do people just sit and watch the sunset or listen to the sound of the birds? We're all racing to the grave, it seems like. We should probably, we need to stop and smell the flowers every now and then. And that's
our mission.
And it's in those moments, that's when we get the inspiration for where to go next, because our minds aren't controlling the situation. As soon as we let go and we become like little children just running through the flowers, and it's like in that moment, it's like, oh, there's the idea. That's what I wanted.
Yeah. Yep. It's so true. Like I went to this place, and if you guys know where this place, what's it called? The hole in the rock. I went there a couple of nights ago. I hadn't been in like 2 years. And I was like, you know what? I need to go back there. So I go there. It's of course crowded, but I find a spot just up against kind of like the wall of the rock to watch the sunset. And I went by myself and I was just watching all the people that were there, including the sunset. And it was very interesting because the majority of the people that were there, all they were doing was taking photos and videos of the sunset. And I was like, to me, it's not about that. It's about what am I experiencing just being without being like, I need to capture that moment, because we all know why that moment needs to be captured, because we need to show social media that we were there. And that's the difference. And then as soon as the sun went down, over half of the people just like left. And the best part was actually after that, when the sun was already down and everything changed. But it's like exactly what you said, just being without feeling like you need any kind of like, it's called the dopamine boost. There's actually a thing going on. I don't know if it's still going on, but for a while there was trending on social media where people were talking about dopamine detoxing. And basically what it just meant is like you tuned in with yourself and you said, hey, I'm going to see how long I can go without needing to reach for that dopamine hit, which is most of the time your phone.
That's our mission with our business is, what will you do today to follow your bliss? And just you going to see that sunset and just be present, that all the moments of bliss that people tell us when we say like, what is your bliss? What are the most blissful moments to you? It's never with a phone. It's always in the present moment. And so, that's been a huge lesson and reflection for us, and something that we try to remind people of is like, what actually brings you joy? What brings you back to the present moment? What makes you feel that gratitude and that bliss for life? And those are the things that we need to make more of a priority versus the dopamine spiral on our phones. So I love that.
Well, this was such an amazing and wonderful conversation. Where can people find you guys?
Yeah, well, you can find us at Ananda Elixirs on any of the social media platforms. You can go to anandaelixirs.com. I'm Dylan Dreiling. This is Samantha Dreiling. So you can find us on social media as well. But
we appreciate you so much for having us, and
love a great conversation.
Our nice deep conversation.
Yeah,
that's our favorite.
It's better that, obviously, it's amazing to talk about what mushrooms can do for you, but I also love going deeper and talking about
that's who we are.
life.
So we appreciate that.
There's always a story behind all of that. There's a meaning. Like anybody could have a product, but if you have a meaning behind your product, it's so much better. So, and you guys not. So thank you for coming on. We'll have all your links in the show notes so people can grab that. And I appreciate you guys.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much.